On the first page of the calculator here, this is our instructions tab, and you can use this as we're going through the calculator as a whole to help guide you with the questions you may have, because we're only going to go through a few of the tabs and the cells on the next page here. So as you can see here, as I'm going through this, there's different sections that relate to each one of the tabs at the bottom. There's a line card, a selection, and a quote tab. And within the instruction tab here, it tells you what each one of the cells represents and how you can adjust it or alter it. So simply by clicking on the plus signs or the minus signs, just to squinch it up a bit, you can adjust things accordingly. So going into the line card here, what we're looking at is specifically, starting at the very top here, anything that is gray can be adjusted. So we start at the top under the average labor cost fully burdened. What we're talking about here is your cost per technician. How much do you pay them? What is their price that you are on an hourly rate, right? So including things like vacation, sickness, maybe 401k. What we're not talking about here is your total cost of ownership. That's where you as an MSP should take into consideration what is your acceptable margin. So what is your acceptable margin for profitability? So if we look over here under the last column, which is the margin column, column R, you'll see things that vary from 92% margin down to 37% margin. And what is an acceptable area of profitability for you? And as we mentioned earlier, we are looking at this in US dollars, but if you are in a different geo and you have other currency, we have adjusted this so you can quickly click on the appropriate currency. So again, staying at the top of the spreadsheet here, if we look at columns C through I, this is software costs. So this is any software costs that you may have or any software that you may be using to support your current customer base. And then columns I through M is the amount of time to support said piece of software. We have already pre-templated this with a number of costs in here, but as you can see down here, there is other columns that you can adjust or add in other products or adjust your pricing according to the product that you're using today. Then once we get under column P, that is your price. That is what you are going to charge your customers as you go to market. So what is your MSRP? So still focusing on the fully managed server that we had as our example throughout the program here, if we look at adjusting the price down to $1 for your cost of your software agent, as you can see, the amount of margin does not adjust very drastically. So if we keep this at $2.99, you'll see it's only about a 1% change. But as we reflected earlier, the backup, for example, if we bring that down to $35, that 52% margin goes up to 58%. That's a fairly significant jump in profitability. But once we look at this area here, the biggest impact is the automation of your manual tasks. So if we can drop the preventative maintenance down to, as we looked at earlier, say 6 minutes, the margins go up massively. So once again, encouraging you to leverage your software to ensure that you're automating as much as possible. And then if we were to adjust our go-to-market price to say $300, once again, we have a very successful or high margin of 75, almost 76%. So once we standardize this sheet to whatever your costs are and your go-to-market programs are and your pricing is going to be, it's once we do that, we go underneath the selection tab, and it is here that we can start to choose the different programs. So for example, if we look at a typical small to medium-sized business having 2 servers, 2 network devices, and 20 workstations, based on the inclusions that we have for what we consider a managed server, a managed network, and a managed workstation, we can then go into the quoting tool, and we have a nice little quote here that you can put in your logo, your company name, who this quote was prepared for, and over here on the right-hand side, which is for internal use only, we can see what our margins are. We can see how much time it's going to take to support said devices. And down here we can put in discounts, whether they be a dollar discount. So if we wanted to reduce this by, say, $20, which would then reflect over here underneath the quote. And then if we wanted to put in the applicable taxes, that would then reflect over here under the quote as well. And this side over here is obviously the quote that you can provide to your customer.